Today, we're going to talk about something that I am quite passionate about, and it's called the long run. And I'm going to break this up for everyone and describe to people why the long run or the long walk can be so important to your mitochondrial health and helping you sustain and improve your energy levels. And I'm just going to use myself. Um, we have about 70 to 100 trillion cells. And within the cell is this really important organelle called a mitochondria. And your mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of your cell. It's a remarkable organelle. And we use it as endurance athletes. We use all of us, whether you're an athlete or not, we use it on a profound basis daily because without the mitochondria, we cannot generate power to move at all, to have sustained energy. So, part of the long run really has to do with training your mitochondria to become more efficient at producing energy for us. In other words, taking in more glucose and turning that glucose through the electron transport chain and producing ATP, basically extracting the protons and electrons, throwing it into the mitochondria, spinning it, and then turning that into ATP. That's the shorthand. And you're not really technically making the mitochondria more efficient, although there are healthy mitochondria and less healthy mitochondria, there's a process where you can generate new mitochondria like autophagy, but we'll get into that nuance later. But for now, the center around why I do the long run every weekend, or I try to do that a few times a day, has to do with effort. And the effort, when the effort is at a rate of perceived exertion, meaning my maximum effort when I'm huffing and puffing, I barely sustain my effort. Say that's 10, where I'm anaerobic, meaning I'm literally using the glycogen in my muscle so fast that I don't even need oxygen to turn that glycogen into ATP. But if I get into, say, 60% of maximum, 6 or 5.5 or even 6.8, then I'm actually utilizing my slow twitch muscles, the mitochondria in my slow twitch muscles, to produce energy that's oxidized. So oxygen comes in and it's using the oxygen along with the breakdown of glucose to create sustainable energy for me. And the theory is, and the science is, that the more you train at zone 2, the more mitochondria you'll actually develop. So we said something about having 70 to 100 trillion cells. And obvious, as we age, we tend to lose more mitochondria, not gain more. But by exercising longer bouts of exercise is more likely to produce more mitochondria compared to shorter bouts. It's not to say that shorter bouts don't produce mitochondria per se, but longer bouts have a more scientifically, there's more science to suggest that period of time, duration, will have more an effect on mitochondria density, meaning how much mitochondria is in your body. And the long run is critical to having more mitochondria. So let's say that my goal next year when I turn 50 is to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And I need to run a relatively fast marathon, say 3 hours and 25 minutes. Yes. And I now can run a 3 hour, 25-minute marathon, but I need to make that's a year from now. And I want to make sure that I have enough mitochondria to sustain that effort while I'm racing to qualify. So I can train my body to be more efficient at either using my current mitochondria density, sure, and that will have to do with how we can turn my body, the carb in my body, into glucose, and how effective I am in storing that glucose, and how effective I am in using that glucose together with my protein and my fat to produce energy. That's one section. Great. You can do that with training. But in these long runs, you're really trying to stimulate mitochondria growth. I'm trying to get more mitochondria. So imagine if you had a V4, like a 4-cylinder, or if it had a electric car with a certain battery size, and just by these long runs, you can get you can upgrade your battery, or you could upgrade your motor. Not having a larger motor, but more of the same motor. So more batteries, opposed to one larger battery, you add more density through units. And that's the secret of the long run. And the science is that you really can't stimulate mitochondrial growth unless you're sustaining real mitochondrial growth, unless your bout of exercise is greater than 1 hour. So say I'm at zone 2 or 60% of a maximum heart rate, you're like, but you can still hold a conversation. And that could be walking too, fast walking. And you keep that up for an hour, you're stimulating mitochondrial growth. So for those of you who do not want to run or can't run, you can do the same on a bike. You can do the same on an elliptical. You can do the same on a treadmill. And the key is, the difficult thing is, how do you get to that 60% of maximum? Well, you can increase the tension on your Peloton or on your bike. You can increase the grade on your treadmill, or you can do stairs, right, at a pace that's sustainable. So your heart rate is 60 to 70% of its maximum. That's it. But the duration is really critical. And you might say, well, can I split it up? Can I do 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening? Sure, why not? Why not? One consistent bout will have better effect than when you split up the 2 sessions. But if you need to split it up, it's fine. You get the total volume. And I think it's better than just one set. If you at 1 30-minute bout, if you can do 2, do 2, and then sometimes sprinkle in one bout of an hour or longer all at once. This is not hard. Don't make this hard. Make it consistent. Start with 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It'll take time. But that mitochondria health and the ability to produce more mitochondria, wow, it'll change your life. I'm almost 50, and I feel like I feel better than my 20s and better than my 30s. And so I'm married. I have 2 kids. I've run a full-time business. I get it. But I feel great, and I normally exercise a couple times a day. And I attribute that to just a stronger mitochondria and also more mitochondria because of my long runs. So I recommend that you do that once or twice a week with your spouse, with your better half. Get out there and always, again, get doctor's clearance if you've had renal disease, open heart surgery, cardiovascular issues in the past. Get clearance just to make sure, because these are longer bouts, and this is not like, going out and taking the stairs. So make sure you get some clearance. But stage 3, stage 4 cancer patients are being prescribed real exercise. By doing these zone 2 workouts or these zone 2 activities, you're really protecting your mitochondria. You're growing more mitochondria. You're making your mitochondria more efficient. You're really defending yourself against cancer in a way. So I share this with you because I find this to be extremely valuable. And I'm sad that a large part of the population doesn't understand this. And I think, like, when I do the long run, it's like, oh, this guy's, why is he doing that? There's a reason I'm doing that, because exercise is medicine. And I like to be there with my kids when I'm older. And I like to be healthy when they're older, instead of having a best interest rate on a house I refied. Yeah, so you put those things together, you're like, maybe I'll do that long run more frequently so I can have stronger cells. I've got 70 to 100 trillion cells. I like to make them stronger. And you're telling me that exercise can do it? Well, then shouldn't we all give that a shot at least once every 10 days? And then naturally people are going to ask me, what about intensity? When does that matter? When should I do HIIT workout? Does HIIT build mitochondria? Yes, and yes. But the science points to longer bouts of exercise, longer than 60 minutes, at 60%, 50 to 55% to 60% of your maximum heart rate. What does that mean? That means you can hold conversation. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but you're not so uncomfortable you have to stop. For those of us who have experience driving a car in manual, or when you're not in automatic mode, think about that 3,000 RPM, and you're not letting it shift gears, but you're just letting it rev there. It's like a washer going at moderate rate, not super fast. That's where you want to be. Your body loves that stimulus. Whenever it gets that stimulus, it produces more mitochondria for you. More mitochondria, better processing of oxygen for our cells. When our body has more oxygen to process, we can have better ATP production. And the science is pointing that the higher our VO2 max, the amount of oxygen we can process per minute, has a direct correlation to our longevity and health span. The secret's in the long run, or the long walk, or the long cycle, or the long row, honestly. Remember, 60%, 50 to 60% of your maximum heart rate. Have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye.